right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Point. Welcome to The Point. Today, I'm going to give you a crash course in how to set up the basics of OBS. I've been streaming for quite a while, or on and off, really. But I've helped a bunch of my friends set this thing up. They've started. They've done okay. They're enjoying it. And I may not stream so much anymore, but this is knowledge I have. Figured I'd make one of these videos that isn't 25 minutes long. All right, let's just jump right into it. All right, you've downloaded OBS. This is what you are shown. Now, before you download OBS, of course, you're going to want to make sure that you have your Twitch account made already. Yeah, that's really all you're going to need. Create your Twitch account, YouTube, whatever. Just make your account. And then you're going to download OBS. We're going to open up settings. This is just going to be a crash course. Nothing crazy. First things first, we're going to move over to the stream icon after we hit settings down here. This is where you're going to select where we're streaming to. Service, of course, you could do Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Restream, Twitter, whatever you want. If you use something like Twitch or anything that's actually here, it will allow you to just sign in and authorize it, and it'll grab the stream key that way. Otherwise, if you're using something like Kick, you're going to need to grab your stream key from your profile, and you would input it right here. You would enter it in, and then once you do it, you can select what server is closest to you for the best performance. The next step, after we've done this, we're going to go to output. This is the simple output view that pretty much everyone's going to see. This will give you plenty to do, but really I like to go into advanced because it gives me stuff that I'm used to seeing from when I started streaming a long time ago, and for me it's just easier. So we're going to leave this all here. You're going to select your video encoder. Generally, even if you have NVIDIA, the NVIDIA encoder works very well at high bit rate. And it can be beneficial if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, or I know AMD now has something similar. However, I'm going into the basics, so generally you're just going to use X264. That's just going to be your standard processor encoding. Nothing too crazy. You're going to scroll down. You're going to select whether you want to rescale output or how you'd like to rescale it, but we're going to do it somewhere else, so it doesn't really matter. You're going to select your rate control. You're going to want CBR, constant bitrate. Bitrate. For Twitch, the max bitrate is 6,000. This is what you're going to be looking at if you are going to be streaming at 1080p 60. Now, if you're going to be doing that, you're going to make sure you got the hardware to do it and the internet connection to support it. Realistically, if you're just starting out, don't know if your hardware is good enough, and you just kind of want to start streaming and get your face on the internet, you can go ahead and select here and change this down to, for 720p, I'd say around 3,500 to 4,000 kilobits per second should be fine. Again, going to depend on your situation. Keyframe interval, just always 2. Cool. CPU usage, this is going to affect how clear your stream is, how smooth it's going to be, how much artifacting is there, and essentially how much CPU power you're going to be using. Now, it's a double-edged sword. So by default, it's going to be set to very fast. When I stream and I'm using my computer to game on or do whatever on, I generally leave it at around faster. So I can go one down. My computer's pretty powerful. I built it up over a long period of time. If you're going to be streaming from a console and your computer really is only going to be kind of like the workhorse to get the stream out there, you can bring this down to fast, or faster, fast, medium. You're gonna have to test out the hardware that you actually have. Realistically, for me, when I stream from console, the lowest that I can go down to is fast. I currently have an i9 14900K with 64 gigs of RAM and a 5080 graphics card, and I can do okay. But yeah, that's the CPU usage preset. Play around with it. I highly recommend some test streams. And then you have tune. I don't really mess around with it. When you're starting out, you really don't have to. Profile, again, doesn't really matter. If you are looking to record and not necessarily stream, that's going to be on this tab. But this is a crash course into streaming, so we're not going to look at it. Next, we are going to go to audio. This is where you're going to select the sample rate at which your audio will be streamed at. For me, I guess the default is 4,800 kilohertz. Whether you want it to be stereo, 7.1, stereo's fine. You're streaming, your stereo's fine. Desktop audio, by default, you're going to have some sources down here for audio input. We'll get into that in a sec here, but once you're there and you have those sources inputted, they will show up here. You can choose to disable it, do a whole bunch of stuff however you'd like. One other tab in relation to audio. If we go back to the output tab here on OBS, you'll see the audio tab here. This is where you're going to select the audio bit rate that's being used to stream. By default, it's set to 160. Chances are it's fine. If you want a bit better audio quality, you can start bumping this up all the way up to 320. Again, preference and what you have available. You don't need a whole lot to get started. So you don't have to go all that crazy. Next, we're going to go to video. This is where you are essentially going to tell the software your canvas size. What your canvas size is essentially your monitor resolution and what you're currently playing the game in, or whatever you're using, what resolution is that at. So for me, by default, it's set to 920 by 1080. For me, I have a 2K display. Output or scaled resolution is what the program will be streaming to, or as. Right, so we're rescaling my canvas of 2K down to, in this case, it's going to be 720. You can choose to just do native and not downscale at all. You can choose to go to 1080p. I know some streamers like to do the 960. Again, personal preference, hardware, what's available to you, what your computer can handle without blowing up. It's not going to blow up. You're fine. If anything, it'll just crash, but you'll be good. Downscale filter. Of course, higher samples equals smoother. 16 is fine. Yeah, bilinear is going to be the lowest. Play around with it, see what you like. Same thing with common FPS value. Set to 30, set to 60, whatever you prefer, and whatever your machine can handle. Next, hotkeys. If you don't have something like a Stream Deck or any type of programmable buttons that you can set to do certain things within the software, such as start, stop streaming, start, stop recording, pause recording, stuff like that, you can set that here. Say you don't use the number pad ever and you want your 0 key to be your start streaming button and stop streaming button, set it to 0. That's it. Accessibility here, you're going to have different color variations that you can set if you have those needs. Advanced, generally I don't really mess with it. There really is no need. You can go further into it and select your renderer, what color group you're using, color stage. You can mess around with it if you'd like. You can also set processor priority. I generally leave it to normal or above normal if I'm using a console. But that's about it. In terms of settings, that's it. Once you have that, your canvas that you see on my screen right now, which is black, will be streaming. That's it. It'll just be a black screen if you hit start streaming, but it will be streaming. So now how do we set this up? Great. So you have 3 major sections down here. You're going to have your scenes, your sources, and your audio mixer. Your scenes, I'm going to go ahead and rename this. I'm going to rename this PC Live, right? And I'm going to want to add a new scene, and I'm going to call it PC Cutscene. That's how you spell that. Fantastic. So these are now 2 different scenes. Amazing. So what are the difference between the scenes and the sources? So the scenes are essentially going to house your sources. Essentially, each one of these scenes is going to be what right now is just a black screen. Going to be different. So now that we have our scene here, we're going to go ahead and start adding our sources. Now, what are our sources? Well, this is where, like I said, we're going to go ahead and input our audio input device. This is for our microphone. You can set it up here. I'm going to go ahead and set up my mic. We're going to hit OK. This is where you're going to select and tell this which one is going to be your, for me it's this, your microphone. Now you see every time I talk, we're getting our little volume rocker here. You can select your audio if I'm peaking too much. But great. Now, if I hit start streaming, the screen will be black, but they'll be able to hear me. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a display capture. That's primary display. Great. Let me make sure that I'm not showing anything on one of my 3 displays. So here we go. I'm going to add this one. You're going to tell it which one you want. Not that one. That's the one I'm actually recording this on. Not that one. This one. This is where you're going to tell the display capture source where which monitor you'd like to have it capture. So right from here, you can also tell it whether you want it to capture the cursor as well. So right now it does. If I take this off, now it doesn't. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add that. Great. Now, remember when we set up that my canvas was 2K, but I want to stream this thing in 720p, right? So clearly my canvas is too big here. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag, snap it to the corners. Boom. Now if I hit go live, they'll be able to hear me and they'll be able to see whatever I'm doing on this screen, right? Let me go ahead and X out of that and I'll pop this up here and we'll go to the Twitch homepage. Why not? Let's see if anything's going to start playing. Nice. Jinxie's live. Great. Now I'm doing that. Now let's say I wanted, the way I have my webcam here in my corner, I'm going to go ahead and add a video capture device, which in this case I'm going to title webcam. Fantastic. Once we set that up, it's going to ask us which device. Now you notice how I have Game Capture HD60 Pro and my MX Brio. I titled this source a webcam, so I'm going to select my Brio. Now I have a problem. I'm actually using my Brio to record this, so it cannot be used twice. So for the sake of the argument, I'm going to go ahead and just select my capture card. You can select FPS, video format, all that stuff down here. Realistically, it'll probably just work just fine. And then you're going to go ahead and hit OK. And then I'm going to resize that, place it. Ooh, hold on. There we go. Place it where I want. Great. Now, when I hit stream, you're going to see whatever we're doing on the monitor, my webcam there, and I can go ahead and just keep adding to this specific scene. I can keep adding as many sources as I want, right? So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to capture, I'm going to add an image. Once I hit add image, hold on, let me title it because hold on, I'm going to remove it and then I'm going to re-add it because I'm going to name it. It's easier for organization. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to add our image. I'm going to call this image my logo. Cool. Let me move this over here real quick. And my logos are here. I have one that's already cut and a PNG, so I'm going to go ahead and pop it up. There's my logo. Cool. Now I want my logo to be small and in the corner. So I'm going to do that. I don't like that it's, if you look at the logo that you guys see down here, I do not like it to be completely visible. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to go into filters and I'm going to go ahead and this is where you can add the filters for opacity to make it, to reduce it. But this is straight and to the point. If you want that, leave a comment. I'll make another video on that and we'll go further into detail on it. As of right now, we have, that's it. This is a basic thing. Anything that you open on your monitor will be streaming. We're capturing the audio. Your desktop audio is being captured. That's it. Hit go live, hit start streaming or go live and enjoy. Have a good time and good luck. Now I know we did our PC cutscene. Now see, whenever I swap between them, everything is missing. I'm going to show you an easier way to do it. Now I know I said we can just go in one at a time and recreate it, but I'm lazy. So I'm just going to remove this and then I'm going to duplicate the scene I already made. And now I'm going to call this one PC cutscene. Now, these two scenes are identical. Now, in a cutscene, I don't want my webcam there. So I'm just going to remove it from this scene. Great. Everything is exactly the same. Except, now when I swap between the two, my PC Live has my webcam, but PC cutscene doesn't. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the basics of OBS. If there's anything that you'd like to know how to do, really more specific, be it, I don't know, web links, polls, if you see the border that I have around my camera, the chat bot, the alert box, all that stuff, leave a comment, let me know, and I'll get to work on making something like that for you guys. Again, this is supposed to be to the point, short, sweet. That's it. Once you have these things set up, hit start streaming. Good luck. Enjoy. And like, comment, subscribe if this was helpful. Cool. Catch you guys later.